Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gridiron Across the U.S. podcast. Today is episode 20, and for some of our topics today, we're going to go over what kind of happened in the NFL post the huge free agency wave, dive a little bit into other sports. Today is MLB opening day. Let's go, Yankees. Paul Goldschmidt, MVP. But we'll get started here with some NFL news.
We're also doing a mock draft.
And a mock draft, yeah. And maybe we'll talk about the Vancouver Canucks on their playoff push towards the end there. If anybody will be interested in that. But we'll start it off with some football. You want to start it off with former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson to the Giants.
So I think it was Tuesday night, Russell Wilson signed a 1-year, $10.5 million contract that can go up to 21 with incentives with the Giants. Definitely an interesting move because, Russ is still good enough where you're not going to lose, enough games to get a top pick. And it makes me wonder what the Giants are doing. I guess they're not getting Cam Ward or Shedeur this year, although I don't think the Browns are going to take Shedeur at 2. We'll get into that later, though. But they're not getting Cam Ward, which is who I think they really want because I think they realize the Titans are taking him. So they signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. Now, next year's QB class is much better, but now you're going to be looking at a Giants team who's going to win 8 games next year. I didn't even do that on purpose. It's too early. We never record this early. But this really makes no sense. And even with the Jameis signing, what are we doing here, Giants? Either commit to the tank or take a QB this year. Don't pull a Steelers and just be too mid for all the good QBs. And I honestly think Russ got too much hate with the Steelers. If you look down the line, he kind of started playing bad. But we played the schedule of doom and despair. We had all 10-win teams. And our wide receiver 1 was Van Jefferson because George Pickens was hurt. What do you want him to do there? I don't think he's bad. I still think he's good. Just an interesting situation for the Giants. You want to get into the other signing that happened about 20 minutes after?
I'm going to talk about Jameis Winston instead. The absolute GOAT. Jameis Winston should be the Giants' starting QB this season. But a crazy thing, that locker room, that quarterback room is insane. Sorry, I'm a little sick here. Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and Tommy DeVito, QB room of doom and despair. But the pregame speeches with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, the Lord is going to be shining upon that Giants locker room. You better not be an atheist if you play for the Giants. But who is going to be the pregame speech guy? Is it going to be Russ or is it going to be Jameis? It's got to be Jameis.
They're going to duet it. It's going to be the vibes are going to be at an all-time high. It's going to be like the oh God, what year was it? The Nets were horrible, but all the players on the bench would start dancing after every shot with Spencer Dinwiddie was the best player. I think it was right before they traded for their big 3 with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. It was right before that. They had they sucked, but at least the vibes were high. I think that's what the Giants are going to be this year.
It's like the Sharks for hockey this year. Vibes are so high over there, but they're absolutely garbage. But moving on to that actual signing, Stephon Diggs signed to the Patriots for 3 years, $69 million. I think this is a pretty big overpay for a guy coming off an ACL tear. But at least Diggs is going to get his targets. He was complaining all the time in Buffalo about not getting targets. He was pretty solid in Houston last season, but they had a really good receiver corps. So obviously Nico Collins is the number 1 guy over him. So Diggs wasn't getting as many targets. But now in New England, veteran wide receiver for Drake May, he's going to get 200 targets all season, which for a guy coming off an ACL tear is probably not the best thing for him. High risk of re-injury there, but I feel like Diggs is going to shine there, get all the targets because their wide receiver too right now, I think it's Mac Hollins, isn't it? Guy who doesn't even wear shoes.
I know they signed Mac Hollins, but it's probably Demario Douglas or who they draft in the second round that was absolutely horrible last year. Jalen Polk. That's who it was.
Jalen Polk, best hands in the league. The guy who said, I got the best hands in the league. I think he led the league in drops this season.
Yeah, he was horrible.
He's so bad. So, yeah, getting a good wide receiver. Well, Stephon Diggs can still produce. We just need to see how he does coming off that ACL tear. But getting a good receiver for Drake May will really help his development. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I think like you said, it's an overpay, but I don't think that means it's a bad signing. It can be. I think it's a good signing and an overpay at the same time, because while Stephon Diggs is not worth 96 mil or 69 or whatever he got, while he's not worth 26 per year, the Patriots have the money to give him that, and they need that wide receiver one veteran for their QB. So I think, you might have to overpay to get a guy to come to New England in free agency, but I think it's worth it. And the way the contract is structured, I think they can get out after year one if they really need to. Say he tears his ACL again. I'm pretty sure he's going to be ready for week one. So, definitely going to be interesting to see how the offense revolves. He'll be an interesting guy to look at in fantasy. But, like I said, I think two things can be true at once. It's an overpay, but it's also a good signing for New England.
Yeah, 100%. You want to get into our next topic here?
Yeah, so we're back talking about the enigma, Aaron Rodgers. I think we're in week 3 of free agency now. Still hasn't signed. Not a peep. Now reports came out last night from Schefter that he might not even play next year.
He does not want to be a Steeler.
It's just bizarre. It's Aaron Rodgers. That's what it is. I thought for sure he'd be signed by now, but then again, I should have known better. There is a chance he announces it live at the Pat McAfee show in Pittsburgh.
He does not need to do all this.
Yeah, a little too much for a 41-year-old coming off a 4-13 record. Honestly, if the Steelers get him, I'll be happy. If they don't get him, I really won't care. They just better not draft someone this year. Just please shit the bed. Please tank this year. Please tank this year and get a QB next year, like Drew Aller, Nico Iamaleava, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers. There's 5 QBs next year, maybe even 6 or 7, depending on who you ask. That would be consensus number 1 picks this year. This is not the year to draft a QB. We made the mistake with Kenny Pickett. Please do not do it again. Do not take Jackson Dart or Tyler Show at 21. I'm not watching the team.
Tyler Show 21? What?
There's been reports that we might take him there.
No way.
I swear.
He's literally 26 years old. He's Kenny Pickett 2.0.
Brandon Whedon 2.0. Nice pull there. But yeah, I hope the Steelers just get a bridge QB, whether it's Mason or Rodgers this year, and take someone next year.
Mason Rudolph?
That's my little Steelers rant of the day.
Mason Rudolph?
Dude, Rudolph saved Christmas. He wasn't terrible, okay? He was better than Kenny Pickett. He can stand in there. And the thing he's best at is just standing in the pocket.
That's a pretty low bar right there.
The thing Mason Rudolph is best at is standing in the pocket and just letting that thing fly. And when you look at the receiver core, DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Calvin Austin, 3 guys who all you have to do is just launch the ball down the field. So I think Mason Rudolph wouldn't be he long-term wise, he'd be a lot better than drafting some guy. I still would prefer Rodgers for this year over Mason Rudolph, but Steelers in quarterback hell. I don't see a way out until next year when the draft is in Pittsburgh. We trade up with all of our comp picks and we get our guy. I'm done.
Yeah, going back on Rodgers there, Vikings were out pretty much immediately. They were centered on developing J.J. McCarthy, and you don't need that distraction in the room because Rodgers isn't going to mentor him. He's just going to complete the Brett Favre route. Then the Giants signed 2 quarterbacks, so they're out. So all it is between now is Pittsburgh and retirement. And like you said, if he announces it on the Pat McAfee show, that's even more corny than what he did with Devontae Adams, again on the Pat McAfee show. This guy has an addiction to the Pat McAfee show. He should be watching Gridiron Across the U.S. Aaron Rodgers, if you're watching this.
Next episode, everyone tune in. Guest speaker Aaron Rodgers will be announcing where he signs. He might not be. Quick disclaimer, that's not a guarantee. But tune in next episode for the Aaron Rodgers decision on the best sports podcast in the nation.
Aaron Rodgers, you will be receiving a DM very shortly after this episode is recorded. We hope you give us some insight. And you're probably in South America in the middle of the jungle hiding in a
Probably.
dark hole, taking Ayakusha. I don't know what he's doing these days. But how about we get into your mock draft here? A little bit of Aaron Rodgers right there.
Yeah, so we're getting into my mock draft here. After that little ramble, let me pull it up on the side. All right, so I'll do the first couple picks and then only highlight like important ones that I think. If you're new here, we're going to talk about some of the picks I like. If I missed your team, the entire thing will be done or will be posted on Instagram. Probably before the episode comes out, honestly. We'll probably post it tonight. So yeah, we'll get right into it. Number one pick, I have Cam Ward to the Titans. Now, coming into free agency, I really thought the Titans were going to trade back with a team like the Giants or the Jets or the Browns. And I didn't think they were going to take Cam Ward, but seeing them pass on all the guys in free agency like Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, who else? Oh my God, whoever else was available. I really think they're set on taking Cam Ward at 1. Number 2, I have the Browns taking Abdul Carter to pair him with Myles Garrett. I just don't think teams are high on Shadur Sanders. I don't think he's that good. He's going to be his ceiling is like current Geno Smith, in my opinion. Dom raised a hand. What's up?
Yeah. I think Shadur Sanders is going to fall to the second round, personally. Very hot take there, but...
No, we'll get into that. You'll see.
You have been falling to the second... Stay tuned.
Number 3, I have the Giants taking Travis Hunter. Now, this is a crazy play, right? They're going to put him at receiver, and, this was kind of before Russell Wilson signed. They're going to put him at receiver. Jameis is going to be the QB, right? So Jameis can just launch it, and every time he throws an interception, Travis Hunter can switch to defense on the return and tackle the guy.
Meta play.
The vision has been seen. 4, the Patriots take Will Campbell, nice offensive tackle for Drake May. 5, the Jaguars take Mason Graham, best defensive lineman in the class. That's really the only thing they haven't addressed yet, and I think this is – all right, I airballed on my lock of free agency, but that was because Geno Smith signed. I wholeheartedly believed if Geno Smith didn't get traded to the Raiders, Russell Wilson would have signed there. This is my lock of the draft, Mason Graham to the Jaguars at 5. I think that's a surefire pick there, unless he goes before, but I don't think he's falling past the Jaguars at 5. Number 6, I have Ashton Genty to the Raiders.
Little early.
Yeah, but that's what no one thought Bijan was going at 8. When he went to the Falcons. They had a mock to like the Eagles at like the end of the first, if I remember correctly. So I have him going to 6, the Raiders. I think they really need a running back.
Zamir White.
What?
Zamir White fantasy breakout season last year. This man is a league winner.
But, we've seen them take flyers on these offensive skill guys. I think the last, 2 years, they've taken a tight end in the first round back-to-back with Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. Or Michael Mayer might have been the second. I think he was the second pick. Because they took Tyree Wilson in the first. But they took Brock Bowers last year when they didn't need a tight end. So I think they're high on these skill guys. We'll skip past to my first trade of the draft. I have the Bears trading back to 12 with the Dallas Cowboys, who jumped to 10 and take Tetaroa McMillan. They jumped the 49ers, who they've kind of had a little playoff rivalry with, but now both those teams are terrible. They're both picking in the low teens. I have them trading to 10 to jump San Francisco. Now, when you look at Dallas, they just let Brandon Cooks walk in free agency because he wasn't happy with his usage. I think Tetaroa McMillan is a guy who can play on the outside and plays more of an X, and then you move CeeDee Lamb to the slot where he was most productive. I think that's how you get the Cowboys passes. Oh my gosh, Cowboys pass offense going again, and then put like Jalen Tolbert on the other side. I think that's a really good receiver trio. And could have put them with a running back here, but Genty's gone. I don't see them taking Omarion Hampton this high, which gets me into my next pick 12 with the Bears who just traded back. I have them taking Omarion Hampton because I don't think he should go this high. But you got to remember who's the head coach. It's Ben Johnson, the same guy who had the Lions take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 last year? No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. we've already seen they've traded for Joe Tooney, traded for Jonah Jackson. They're building these trenches for the run game. We know they're going to run the ball. They signed Drew Dalman as the top, highest paid center in free agency. They're going to run the ball. And I think they take Hampton here, who's the clear-cut running back 2 behind Genty. A little bit early, but I think he's going to work out in the Ben Johnson offense. A little bit of a bold pick there. 2 more skill guys in the next 2 picks. I got Malachi Starks at 13 to Miami. I think this is a good fit because they lost Javon Holland. Tyler Warren at 14 to the Colts. They really didn't get anything out of their tight end room last year. So I think taking the best tight end in the class makes sense here. 17, the Bengals. Will Johnson, corner. I hope the Bengals don't do this because it's the right pick. I hope they take another person on offense. But after you paid Jamar Chase and T. Higgins like an insane amount of combined money, now you have half of your cap tied up in 3 players. You need to get these rookie contract guys on defense. Their defense is horrible. How many more times are the Bengals going to put up 45 points and lose? My next trade is the Seahawks trading back to 23 with the Packers, who jumped the Bucks, Broncos, Steelers, and Chargers, all teams that could take a receiver. They jumped them for Matthew Golden out of Texas. I think Josh Jacobs coming out and saying the team needs a wide receiver 1 is pretty saying. Like for a player to say that, he said, I love our guys, but we need a wide receiver 1 is pretty crazy. So I think they trade up and take a receiver here who can hopefully be their wide receiver 1. I'm going to let you – what do you think about these first couple picks? I feel like I've been talking for a while.
A little bit of a bold picks here, but I like them. I like, can't be too basic. Can't do the same mock draft as all the other people. You got to keep it original. But I like the picks you make, and I could definitely see them happening. I don't even have the mock draft pulled up in front of me, so you can get back to your yapping.
All right. So my next pick I want to highlight is Luther Burden to the Broncos at 20.
Evo.
His stock has kind of been falling a little bit, but I still think he goes early because I think the Broncos need a wide receiver as well. My next trade is the Steelers trading back to 28 with the Commanders. The Commanders jump past the Chargers for Mike Green because the Chargers just let Joey Bosa walk. So they were going to take an edge rusher, but the Commanders jump them and get one because they also need one. You something to say?
Yeah, going back to Luther Burden there, like you said, his stock is falling. People are classifying him as a diva wide receiver. So, maybe he'll go to the Steelers in that end, but would be a great fit there. But, yeah, scouts are having him falling, kind of like the same situation with Shedeur Sanders. They don't really like his character. So, yeah, it's pretty much all I got to say there. So I could definitely see Burden falling later in the first round, possibly even into early second.
I thought – the months leading up to free agency, the Steelers were for sure going to take a receiver, but now with the DK Metcalf trade, I can't see them taking a receiver early. You have Metcalf and Pickens on the outside, and then you have Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson in the slot. I don't think you're going to waste another high pick on a receiver, and they trade back here, getting like a second to kind of recoup assets from the DK Metcalf trade. My next pick is Colston Loveland to the Chargers because they need a tight end. And I think he'll be nice in that offense. And then we'll skip a little bit. We got Maxwell Hairston at 26 to the Rams.
Who's that?
The corner from Kentucky. Now, he's has some off-the-field concerns, but I think this is such a Rams pick. He ran a 4.28 at the Combine. I think that's what gets him into the first round. And he's a good player. I mean, he just has, some legal issues off the field, but, that's all right. 27, James Pierce to the Ravens. Character concerns, but I think the Ravens get him here, which is going to make me so mad because he's such a good player. And the Ravens get this every year. They're like the Eagles. They just take the best player on the board because someone always falls to them. 29, Steelers. I'll highlight them because they're my team. Kenneth Grant, after trading back, they get their D lineman. He projects more as a nose guard, so you can have him in the middle, Benton and Hayward on the D ends when you're running a 3-4, which is what they run. I think it'll be a good D line, and with Cam Hayward being 35, you're going to need to replenish that D line. And I think that's what they do here. And just some more linemen to round out the first round. I will highlight one pick from the second, and then I won't get into the second. That'll be on Instagram for you guys to see. I have Shedeur Sanders at 33 to the Browns. He falls out of the first round because I don't think he's that good, and I hope the Browns take him at 2 because that would be hilarious. That's that's my mock draft. We're about a month out from the draft here. I did do a second round, and that will be posted on Instagram, so make sure to check that out.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders falling to the Browns. I really like that. You got electric scenes in Cleveland's Kenny Pickett versus Shedeur Sanders training camp. You got the white boy from Ocean, New Jersey versus Daddy's Money, Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, the kid from Ocean, New Jersey. Kenny Pickett, if you're watching, we're going to get Aaron Rodgers and Kenny Pickett next episode. Book it. But
going to be absolute cinnamon.
That's all there is for football now, but it's opening day today, baby. The Yankees take on the Brewers in like a couple hours, actually. So we're going to get into a little bit of a Yankees rant here. No more Juan Soto, so missing superstar there. We got Aaron Judge, but Ben Rice might be the next Juan Soto. You want to tell them what Mr. Rice did?
Yeah, he switched his jersey number to 22. This might be a Juan Soto jersey. You're never going to know because I'm not going to show you. But if it was, it's now a Ben Rice jersey because he switched his number. Looking at the Yankees lineup, I think they're a contender with Aaron Judge in lineup, but I am a little concerned because you got to take this lineup and picture what does it look like without Aaron Judge, because there's a good chance he's injured for most of the year. And then they turn into a borderline wildcard team. The rotation's better, but now Garrett Cole's getting Tommy John, so is it better? The bullpen is much better with guys like Devin Williams coming back. I'm trying to stay positive, but I don't see them returning to the World Series this year. I think they're gonna teeter off once Judge gets hurt. It's inevitable. I mean, I'm so sick of this.
Yeah, but a thing I like about the Yankees lineup this year, you got young players to go alongside Judge. We talked about this last night. Austin Wells is leading off. He's a pretty good player. He had some big hits last season. You got Jason Dominguez, Jazz Chisholm. Anthony Volpe was amazing at the start of last season. So if he can match that production, we could have another. This is a Jeter jersey. We could have another Jeter on our hands right there. This is not a Ben Rice. But Ben Rice is the designated hitter this season. Didn't he have a 3-home run game last season or something like that?
Yeah, I think he did.
He's absolutely raking that game. But I like the lineup here with the young players, but you got those older guys in there. Paul Goldschmidt. What is Paul Goldschmidt these days? Arch Manning.
It's inevitable. You can run, but you can't hide.
Future Steeler right there, Arch Manning. But as I was saying, how old's Paul Goldschmidt these days?
Oh, he's like 39.
Oh, you got old players, you got young players. So like you said, contender with Judge in the lineup, but wild card team without. But they're playing in a tougher division. Orioles are just getting better with all their young players. Gunnar Henderson's only like 24, I think. But Yankees and Orioles and Red Sox probably all compete for that division.
Yeah. I think it is going to be tough. The Red Sox are better this year. But it'll be fun to see. I'm rooting for him. Been playing a lot of MLB The Show 25. Great game.
You don't talk about my experience on MLB The Show.
You would think people would be able to, not saying names, you'd think a person would be able to get an extra base hit after about 3 hours of trying.
It wasn't 3 hours. It was more like 1. I could not get an extra. Actually, no, I got that extra base hit. Trust. Totally got the extra base hit.
Oh, okay, bro.
Hey, I'm going to hop on the game right after this, and I'm going to get that extra base hit. Ethan Salas, please just make good contact with. I'm sick of these lineouts and pop-outs. Perfect down the middle.
So yeah, that's it about the Yankees. We'll go on a little Canucks rant. So they just played the Devils in New Jersey, and if you should know by now if you're a regular watcher. I'm from New Jersey. I went to the game. I was on the glass next to the penalty box, and what do you know? Jonathan Lekkerimäki scores an OT shootout winner right in front of me. Oh, it was so sick. Best sports moment I've ever seen in real life. What?
Pull up the video for them to see.
Oh yeah, let's pull this up. Great game all around. Battle between the Hughes brothers. Look at this. Look at that stick twirl. Before he even touches the puck. Oh my goodness. Look at him go. Shoots. Oh! You can see Markstrom break his stick. I'm going crazy right now. He skates right past me. Absolute electric scenes. And I'm going back to the Prudential Center tonight for March Madness. But we're getting a little bit off the course. I don't think the Canucks are going to make the playoffs, if I'm being honest, but they have a chance.
No, they are. They are. Try.
I think for some reason St. Louis turned into like the greatest team of all time, and Calgary is also ahead of us, I think. But,
we jumped them last night. We jumped Calgary last night.
Yeah, but they have 2 less games played than us.
Ooh.
Assuming
it's okay. The Blues are going to go on a losing streak, hopefully.
I think, honestly, the best team we have the chance of beating is Minnesota. They're about 5 points ahead of us with 1 extra game played. I don't see either St. Louis. I think we could pass Calgary, but St. Louis is on a heater right now. So unless they cool off and they have an easy schedule, it's gonna be rough. I feel like I've done too much talking. I think I'm tapping out here.
Yeah, I'll end it off here a little bit more with Canucks, but I think getting Thatcher Demko back is a big get for the Canucks. Who was it? Artis Sevel? How do you say his last name?
She loves Lankinen had a stinker versus the Rangers, but getting Demko back is huge. He carried us against the Islanders last night.
Yeah, Demko's making big saves. Hopefully he doesn't get injured, but if he doesn't get injured and St. Louis cools down, I could see them making the playoffs there, hopefully, but it's pretty unlikely, like a 20% chance at this point. But that's going to do it for our episode today. A lot of yapping from Kevin. We'll let his vocal cords rest and we'll let his hair get cut. How about you show him that flow? Take off the hat. Take off the hat. Take off the hat. The flow.
Get a haircut finally.
Yeah, but that's about all we got for the episode today. Thank you guys for watching episode 20. We'll be back next week. Hopefully some more NFL news comes out. If not, maybe we'll do some fun things. Maybe try and find a guest speaker. Maybe we'll get some viewer hotline people back from the failed attempt.
Oh boy.
We had like 7 people on there, and it just completely crashed. The recording didn't even upload 1%, so that's why that never even released. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.